Hi, today we're with Charles Paulsen, a REOCA member who has installed his solar panels through a lease program. Charles, why did you decide to lease your solar panels rather than buying them outright?
Well, there are two main reasons. Number one is my age at the time that I put the system in and my family circumstances. And then secondly, it was the idea that I didn't have to put up as much money as I would purchasing the system. I am a very satisfied customer of their lease system. I found out when I talked with them that I could lease the system for basically $5,000 upfront cash, and I would get a 20-year lease, and there would be no further payments required, and they would install everything. I would not have to know a whole heck of a lot about it because I'm not really that technically oriented about these things.
Charles, did Solar City have to do anything to your home to prepare it for the solar panels?
Yes, they had quite a bit of work to do, actually. This home was built in 1937, and I had done a lot of energy audit work years ago. I increased the insulation in the roof or in the attic to R34, I believe it was, and we put in storm windows. We did most everything that we could to become energy efficient. But the problem that they ran into when they looked at my house was that the attic roof was probably not strong enough to hold the weight of the panels, so they had to do some reinforcement work up there. We did have a few smoke detectors in the house, but they made sure that we had them everywhere we're supposed to. They put them in bedrooms, in the hallway, and they put in a carbon monoxide detector. In the basement, I found out that the power panel that I had down there was inadequate for the purposes. And you can see it in the background. The power panel is right below the 2 meters there. And we have a net metering system which they installed. I haven't had any problems with it. It's monitored through my router for my computer and everything, so I know that even if I don't look at the production, I do occasionally, that somebody else is monitoring it. If something goes wrong, they'll tell me.
How did you find Solar City?
I basically found them online, and in fact that's one of the first times that I've ever bought anything without ever even seeing the salesman. They had a presentation that we did on my laptop, and I was presented with their business model. They would go from absolutely basically no money down, and you would pay them a certain amount a month for the system, all the way to doing what I did, which was basically buying a 20-year lease and no payments further, and it appealed to me to do that. So
what happens after the 20 years, Charles?
Well, after the 20 years, you have a lot of options. Number one is that you can ask them to come in and remove it. Number two is you can extend the lease. And number three is you could actually go for a more up-to-date model.
Let me ask you something. What happens if you sell your house before the 20-year lease is over?
That, to me, is another one of the no-brainer reasons for doing a lease, because the person that purchases my house basically only has to sign on, in the 20 years, it has to sign on the lease itself, and it's theirs. They don't have to put out any more money. They don't have to meet any other further requirements. So it's easily transferable.
Charles, do you have any idea how much it would have cost if you had purchased your system outright rather than leasing?
Yes. Back in 2012, I actually did look at some options of purchasing the panels and owning the system outright, and it would have been around $30,000. And that was one of the reasons I decided on a lease, was that I'm 74 now. I'm not sure how much longer Donna and I will be here in this house, but we have the benefit of the solar panels, and we don't have that big price to pay off. It's a no-brainer. I've paid for this system numerous times over. I paid the loan off in the $5,000 loan just on a personal loan over a 3-year period, and so since then it's basically gravy.